thought of another arena where this Inyan, this kind of muscle weave would be really meaningful. There we can really understand the significance of this. There are all kinds of levels of human relations. If we go all the way to the top, we have real friendship, dedicated friendship. And then above that, we have father and sons and son. What's the difference between friendship?
I'm sorry, I just joined. What is this that we're talking about?
Oh, okay. I had a chance to think things over today, and I realized that the mushal of the water in the lake and the water in the cup, which is a good mushal, but it lacks the richness that this Inyan really represents. So I realized that there is a ready-made mushal for this that is truly meaningful, and we can fully understand the implication there. The principle that we're going to try to understand is oil is mislabish in a keli. Mislabish has been already discussed many times. Mislabish means that it's imbued in the keli, becomes part and parcel of the keli, and that acquires the nature and the personality of the keli. Like we said, water in the cup is not plain water flowing in the lake, free flow. It's water with a definitive purpose, function, associated with human drinking. That's exactly what this water stands for, because it's in the cup. The cup embraces, acquires the water, and gives the water a definitive function. So the mushal is okay, but it is so physical, and there's a difficult aspect in this, because always in this mishalim we lose sight of a certain point. The point is that we're talking about oir. Oir is principally the emanation from the source. That's where the oil is in full glory. In the case of this water, the water is the emanation of the source. In other words, the lake, the infinite flow of water, which is also like, so to speak, a source. But nonetheless, this is a little bit more, it lacks the full meaning, because the lake doesn't create the water, and the water in the cup is not representative of the water in the lake. So I thought of a real good way of explaining this principle, and that is, as I started in terms of human friendship, human relations. So we have friendship, we have acquaintances, we have friendship, then we have at the highest level real friendship, and then we have parents and children. So I don't want to elaborate, I don't want to spend much time, I want to go straight to the point. But everyone understands that if you have a friend that is truly your very close friend, you will occasionally give him a gift, like on a birthday or some other occasion. That gift will be representative of your friendship, which means that your friendship, the friendship between these two people, has now been defined, has been put into a keli. The keli, the gift is a keli that encompasses, that contains this friendship. It fully represents this friendship. Because if they were not friendship, you wouldn't have given him this gift. Not only it wouldn't fit, it wouldn't be suitable. So in this instance, the gift is like the keli that actually represents their feeling of friendship. Now we go to parents and children, father and son. There's also expressions of their relationship. And the expression of their relationship can be all kinds of different ways. Gifts, support, kisses. None of these things grasp and catch and represent the full meaning of this relationship. Because this is of a quality that cannot be put into a keli. This is meaning a bli gvul cannot be expressed in a keli.
None of the expressions capture.
None of the expressions capture this relationship.
Whereas between the friends,
between a friend, it is representative of friendship. Could be a deeper friendship, a greater friendship. It's all representative of the principle that created this situation, this gift. Whereas a gift from a father to son does not capture at all their relationship. Thinking further, as I said, I had a lot of time to think. What would be representative of their relationship? Oh, the door is locked?
no.
Oh, all right. Okay, somebody's there. There is something that at least closely represents this relationship. Let us say the child, we're talking about a child, puts on a garment, and on the garment is embroidered a name. You can embroider the child's name, and you can embroider his father's name, or his mother's name, or all three. So if you embroider the parent's name, then in a sense you're capturing this whole situation, this whole reality. What is his wearing a garment with their name, his name? because their name, this is who he is. And taking this a step further and understanding it in the real world, one of the things that is said about the relationship between Eden and Hashem. Hashem is the God of the whole world. He's the Melech HaOlam. And Lahavdil, the Goyim also have to behave because he is their king. But the behavior, the demand on the Goyim is in totally different category than that of Eden. They have to behave within their parameters. You know what we're saying? Justice is a convention in the world on the worldly parameter, worldly rules, not to disrupt peace and so forth. The justice principles that Eden are bound by are of a different category. The justice principle that Eden are bound by is to bring cognizance that the Eibishter is present with them. Not that the Eibishter is the boss, but they are, all their activities are in his home. One thing that brings it out very clearly is, it says like Shabbos, for example. Shabbos, the mitzvah Shabbos. Shabbos is a wonderful thing. All the Goyim picked up on Shabbos and they said, oh, this is, you heard the member, oh, this is such a smart thing. A human being has to have a break. Cannot work 7 days a week. This is not what Shabbos is to us. Shabbos is Hashem's day. Hashem gave us his day of rest, and we should also rest in the same day as he does. That represents a completely different principle. That represents that, yes, indeed, we are one thing, and we emulate exactly his own activities. Now the Gemara says, when a person who sits and learns, the Rebbe is learn parallel to a person's learning. The Rebbe is learning at the same time. This is a different principle completely than doing the right thing. This represents the relationship on that supreme level of being one and the same thing. This is the relationship, what's called bli gvul. There is no definition to this relationship. There is nothing that can be identified as that which binds them. They're one. They are one. The halacha says, halachically, the principle of Yerusha, of inheritance, is not that it transfers from one rishut to the other rishus. There is no transfer. There is no transfer. It's one and the same rishus. Actually, the management of this rishus is under new management, but it's exactly the same rishus. This is, we can readily see, this is a bli gvul aspect. This gives us a real sense of what we mean by oil bli gvul. And this oil bli gvul really cannot be represented by any kind of an action or transaction, a gift, whatever it is. This is the pshat, that this which is bli gvul cannot be imbued into a kevi. This is the way it is, that we discussed, this is the way it is at the level of Atzilus. Okay? Anyway.
So the name embroidered with the parent's name is not a keli?
No, it's not a keli.
What is it?
It's symbolic. This does not fully represent, this does not capture their relationship. There is nothing that can, but capture the relationship, that they live exactly the same principles. Like we said, Shabbos, you didn't keep Shabbos, the Rebbe should keep Shabbos. But this is not a keli. This is exactly the same thing. The Rebbe should keep Shabbos. This is the Rebbe, and Yidden keep Shabbos. This is Yidden. This is not a transfer. This is not a means of relating them. This is being in that same reality. A keli means that the oil has been translated in in something that is not the oil. Something external. But this is not external. This is he himself. Okay, now we're going into the more difficult area. This is Madrega Shelifnei HaTzimtzum, which we started this morning. So he says, okay, let's go quickly with them. This is dissimilar to Madregas Tzimtzum, where we say the Bibchin Askei Hagvoshe being Soif, where in that element that's called Kei Hagvul should be in Soif, which is like the source of the Kelim in Bein Soif, Shehei Noises Horshimu, which ultimately are represented in Oishes Horshimu, Hoya Bahem Begilui Mamash, in these Oishes and in this Kei Hagvul was Begilui Mamash in full expression. Not just an allusion, not just a remez, but a full expression. Bechinas Ha'oir Ein Soiv Habli Gvul, which means that yes, in this Kelim, the Oir Ein Soiv Habli Gvul was fully expressed.
But where? By the Oisius.
But the Oisius Hashim. It's as if in our Moshe Moshe that we said, as if there is something that would actually represent this relationship between father and son. Capture it. It can allude to it, have a remez to it, but not capture it.
So in the mashal, what is the tzimtzum?
Huh?
In the mashal you gave us, what were you representing as the tzimtzum?
Am I missing something?
in few months, people don't let go over here. You know how it is. In the motion that I gave, what would be representative of the tzimtzum? It is well known, a principle, a principle in parents and children relationship, that although they're like one, and children follow in the footsteps of their parents, totally naturally, yet the children also need to identify their own values independently. They may be the same values, but they have to identify them independently. And in order to identify them independently, they may have to veer off slightly for a period and get to know themselves, and then come back and reconnect. This is what you say, reintroduction. During this period, there is a tzimtzum. And then afterwards they get reintroduced. What's reintroduced? The oil that's in the oil is horshimu, but it's the same thing. But now it is reintroduced, and it is understood by the son. I listened today to several classes. One of them was, by the way, the website is phenomenal. I don't know what to do there. We had a long discussion about the principle of Haidah. And the principle of Haidah is in contrast to Brum Shebiyam. Brum Shebiyam, the sea, and the animals of the sea, they do not have a separate identity at all. Here we have like this, we have Brum Shebiyabosha have their own identity, and yet they have also this connection at the level of the Haidah, which is not going through a logical, rational process. Okay. Okay, so our question here now is, how is it that in the Oisius Horshimu, which are Gvul, or the Koyach HaGvul, and yet they contain in full expression, not a remez, not a hint upon it, but a full content of the Oir Ein Sof. How can Oir Ein Sof be contained in a keli that's Gvuli?
Before you continue, I want to say a sincere thank you to Yona for putting together such a beautiful,
Put together what?
beautiful website.
Oh, you
Yeah, really.
beautiful.
A
Yeah.
new website?
I don't know if it's new. I haven't been there for a long time. I only pick it up on my phone. It's really something. Yeah. when we say the bli gvul is containing gvul, and we say, how can it be bli gvul containing gvul? So you can express it in very simple physical terms. Listen, you can't put a lake into a cup. It won't fit. The lake is just the water in the lake. It won't fit into a cup. But that's clearly it's a truism, but this is not the message in this discussion. And the reason it's not the message is because when we talk about kelim, I mentioned many times and made the emphasis that the emphasis over there is mislabesh in the kelim, not that it is contained in the kelim, but mislabesh. Contained and mislabesh are not the same thing. And the simple mashal for this we have already had before. Water in a cup have a full-fledged relationship. Water is mislabesh in the cup. The reason the water stays in this form of the cup is because it's in the cup. And the reason that this water can now be used in the way that water is in the cup is because it's in the cup. But if you take a cup and you fill it with pebbles, you fill the cup with pebbles, it's also full. But the pebbles do not unite with the cup. They're not mislavish in the cup. There is no real relationship there.
You're saying they don't change. They don't change their
function.
Their function.
Right. The only effect of the pebbles being in the cup is that it helps you to transport the pebbles. It doesn't do with the pebbles themselves. The cup with water is not just to transport, but it is to find what water is. But the pebbles remain the same. They don't unite with the cup. All right. But if not seem to, there is that phenomenon that the koyach hagvul, the gvulim, the Beis and Shimu, actually contained the bli gvul element of the oil. Again, we're not talking about quantity, we're talking about qualitative. They actually represent the bli gvul quality of the oil. And this is the question. They just finished explaining that in Atzilus this is not possible. And yet, Lifnei HaTzimtzum, the oil is contained in Oishis Hashimu in the Gvul element. And in full glory, it's a full representation of the oil. Having come to this new arena of father and son and friends and so forth, we should now be able to focus in on the term oyer a little bit better. We made the point very, very often, but as I said, because of the word oyer, which has a worldly translation, meaning light, and it also has the implication that this is a light that emanates, that is created by some kind of combustion, but comes out of heat, not light, but by heat, and it functions like light. But we mean light, the real sense of light. This light, the reason it is present is because its source is light, not heat. The same is in the Mashal that we had friendship between two people, parents and children. There is the oyer of their relationship. And we can focus into this. Although, unfortunately, the world has become so perverted and so coarse and so pogrebt that even the most basic realities, in many cases, get lost. But nevertheless, we can still understand it because we know this is the way it should be. Let's talk about father and son. It's an interesting thing that father and son relationship, like the halacha says. The halacha says, we just learned it, and those who learn Rambam, Three Prokim, that the obligation of the son of mechabed his father is true, even his father is a rosh. His father is a rosh, and he performed a sin for which he's being taken out to the gallows. And during that moment when he's being carried in, the son has to still treat him with respect. That's halach. And we have to try to understand this. This cannot be explained in worldly parameters. Doesn't make any sense. The son, Rahman al-San, is a mamzer, which is totally due to his father's misdeeds. He still has to respect, give a cover to his father. How do we understand that?
This is illustrating the absence of a Keli-Oyer relationship?
Right. Right. But right now I'm focused on understanding the principle of Oyer, which I did many times. I said after having discussed and come to this, we can now identify this Indian even clearer and even closer to home.
Sorry, which Indian?
Oyer.
Or per se?
Oyer per se.
Oyer per se is the covet that the son
That's right.
gives his father regardless.
That's right. The child respects his father because of the oil of this father that connects them.
It doesn't have a Keli.
It's not through Kalim at all. His
Yeah.
father's presence elicits respect. Huh?
I missed what you said a few minutes ago about the paradox that in Atzilus you can't have. I don't exactly remember how you framed it. The difference between Atzilus and Lifnei Atzimtzum.
Right. In Atzilus, you cannot have oil big wool contained in a keli woolies, and Lifnei Atzimtzum you do have it.
This is the Oisies.
This is the Yosef Hashem. It's clear that this is going to be a real struggle to try to understand, and the Rebbe is taking us through the struggle, but we have to be carefully following and try to understand every nuance, every word that he is saying.
This point that was made here, the respect is showing on the or.
Respect
Hello?
is due to the presence of his father.
Surely that's
Hello?
essence and not or.
Hello, what is it?
Hello?
Microphone.
What?
Surely that surely this is essence, because the or, meaning any level of qualities, has been blemished, right? The father
This is the oil atzmi. It's called oil atzmi. Right. It's not an oil that has. That's what he's saying. Oil is believable.
Right, because on the qualities level, we're showing a relationship where
Yeah,
he's a
qualities. His father is smart. He's good. He's kind. This is all different. Oil. This is the essence of this father, which is independent of what kind of person he is.
Surely that's essence per se. Why is that or?
Because the essence is separate from the sun. What comes to the sun?
Okay.
What comes to the sun is the oil of the father.
But we do say that the Son and the Father are one essence.
Right. Through the it's transmitted through this oil. It's not transmitted. It's not transmitted. Let me complete the sentence, and we'll understand what this is about. Okay. In contrast to friendships, which actually, as we know, can be extremely deep and all-encompassing, to the extent that two friends could be bound up in such depth that they would actually sacrifice for each other. And yet, it is not father and son. I'm going to step away a little bit to something which we are very, very familiar from the classes, to explain this principle. I hope we don't lose it. We said many times, recently and before recently, that ownership of property in this world is really a super worldly phenomenon. It's not something that's supported by worldly concepts, worldly principles. In worldly principles, there is convention. We agree that you don't touch my property, I don't touch your property, so that we don't step on each other's toes. And that's the end of the story. But in Pitoira, ownership goes much, much deeper than that. It goes so deep, it goes beyond human access, human use. It goes to the point of the godly level. Whose world is it? Really, whose world is it? It's God's world. He created it. And at that level of creation, you can own a piece of this world. Because the Rebbe has given it to the human being. You cannot grab it on your own. The Rebbe gave it, so we have it. This is way beyond the sense of ownership or a relationship to property that we have in our functioning level, in our seichel level. Having said that, we cannot to what we speak about parents and friends. Friends can be extremely deep, very interwoven, committed. It's still a man-made relationship. I feel great, I feel proud, I feel reinforced because you're my friend. Right? I'm encouraged. And anytime I get in trouble, I call you up on my cell phone and say, okay, and you give me a pat in the back and say, go, you'll be successful, and that gets me through my troubles. Whatever it is you can project. This is still a man-made level. Parent and child is on the divine level. It's the Creator's arena. As a matter of fact, it says that Kibbut Avo is actually representative of Kibbut Hashem. Who fails at Kibbut Avo? If we go deep enough, you'll see someone who has completely divorced himself from the reality of his being in the world. He's involved in his own self-interest, self-focused, his own success. He forgets about that this is his father. I have my own challenges. I have to build a business. I have to make a name for myself. It's a completely different world. It's not in the real world. He can, Rahman Islam, lose sight of parental respect. But that's a...
Where does brothers come into this?
Where does brothers come into this? After we're finished with fathers, we'll go to brothers.
You haven't. The Kibbut of Aim also goes to an older brother, right?
Yes, Baruch, but please.
Okay, sorry.
So this is the reality. In other words, this is the oil of the Father. In other words, in the proper setting, in the proper mentality, in the proper spirit of life, one recognizes his own presence in the world as real because I have a father and a mother. And I said many times that one of the most painful, devastating aspects in human psychology, not that I studied it, but I had the dealings with it, is a person who does not know who his parents are. I had this kind of thing if somebody was suffering because he was an adopted child and he didn't know, and he couldn't, the adopted parents were very good to him. But he was not real to himself.
The fact that you're created by the Abishur, the fact that you're created by the Abishur can't replace that. The fact that a person is created by Hashem can't.
What was created by Hashem?
The fact that a person knows that he's created by Hashem can't replace the.
No, how does he come to the world? Everything is created by Hashem. It's in the neshama, but in the world he was through the parents. So this is defining his presence directly, parent to child. The presence of the parent, this is the oyer, is what substantiates his own presence. This is what makes him real. So you said, his parents may be bad people, Ahmad Islam. So they were bad, but I'll correct their badness. I'll redeem them. Because I know better. But I'm still here, a real person. How? I'm not an artificially created entity. I'm a human being. I have roots in the world all the way up to Odumarish. So I'm for real, and the world belongs to me, and I will do my best to have my effect. This is the bli gvul element. Bli gvul element means, yes, this is what identifies your presence. Yes, you're for real here. How? Because this is your father. This is bli gvul. This doesn't make you smart, doesn't make you rich, doesn't make you handsome, doesn't make you anything. This makes you a human being. This element cannot be represented in a keli. Okay, I think it's quite clear. So now we have a challenge. The Rabbi is saying, but the oil lifnei atzimtzum. But the issue lifnei atzimtzum, where there was oil in soif. Was not oil in soif. We have again made another step into understanding the meaning from oil. Oil is the presence, the reality. And that oil can be captured and be mislavish in the oasis of Shema. And we just now finished explaining that we saw that it's not possible. Because if it's in a keli gvul, it does not capture, cannot possibly capture this fundamental reality, which is bli gvul. So how come lifnei hatzimtzum it can, and after the tzimtzum hatzilus it cannot? And this is what the Rebbe is going to explain to us now. Okay. Any questions? Baruch has a question about brothers. Okay.
I have a bigger question about, it seems as though the biggest mystery in the whole business we've talked about comes back to the Oisius Harashima. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, this is what this is in fact what's going to be discussed. Whatever it is, we know that Oishis of Shimu have something to do with Gvul. Koyach Gvul. And if it's Gvul, how can Gvul contain Bli Gvul?
Right. So what's about the brothers?
All right. The brothers the din of the brother applies only to an older brother. And the principle in there is, the Torah says that he has to recognize his firstborn child. The father has to recognize, because hu reishis oinoi. he is the first of his strength, of his power. He is the first through whom that his power is expressed in. And therefore the older brother is representative of the primary power of the father. This is where the father's quote-unquote reproductive powers have first been materialized, have first been identified.
This is where
the father's reproductive strength has first been identified. Rosh Hashanah. Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Also, you said that the relationship between friends is a man-made relationship. At the same time, we say that the basis of Ahavas Yisrael is the fact that they share neshamas, and the fact that this is we have a mitzvah of Ahavas Yisrael to actually act this way because of that. So how does that?
It's still within the created world. In other words, yes, indeed, in the Shomas it was just as your seichel. Seichel also was given to you by the Beis, given to the Neshama, and yet seichel is a human possession, it's human power. Like we said many times, that life is something which is reinforced by the creator of life. We don't contribute anything to life. Breathing is something which is forced into us. But seichel, yes, we have been given the opportunity for seichel, but we have to use it. And we have to really work hard with it in order to get any place. It's not being forced upon us.
So the aspect of it being, of this relationship between Yidden having, sharing the same source of neshama, that
Well, I'm saying,
in order for that aspect of the fact that the Yidden have the same source of neshama, and that this is the basis of Israel, that doesn't have a place itself in the world unless the Yid brings it there. Is that what you're sort of saying? As opposed to the parent is naturally the child has no control over that. It's something that Abishur puts there. Is that how you're saying what to say? Distinction?
well, Shoresh Neshama is not the actual Neshama.
No.
Yes, you definitely have to respect it and so forth. But one thing, like he says, in Halacha he says, you have to respect Ayin because they are all children of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Still not the real thing. It's still something that you understand, you know, children of. You have a small idea of Yitzchak. All right.
Before you go further,
Sure.
in the development of the brother's relationship, we said that this applies to the firstborn,
Primarily, yes.
primarily recognizing another brother. But how does this relate to what we said before?
I explained what's so special about the first brother, the older brother, that he is the first show of his father's presence in the world.
Okay.
So therefore, it's like respecting his father himself.
So in other words, the younger brother has to respect the older brother like the son respects his father?
Yeah,
That's
that's what it says. Kabed es avicho, es rabis avicho hagoni.
My question about the brothers really was to the point of this is not an invention and an artifact. This is also a divine thing. You don't have a brother because anybody did anything. God, just like God made
My dear
the son
friend,
and father.
friends are also godly creations.
You could hate your brother. He's still your brother.
That's right.
God forbid.
Right. Why do you say God forbid?
What? God forbid a brother should hate a brother. Isn't that obvious?
What's so terrible about that?
He's your brother.
He's another human being, another Yid.
There's no difference there.
You are now on the witness stand. Don't
I'm
throw
on
it
the
back to me.
witness I don't know. The whole business got started with Cain and Hevel. They were brothers. They weren't friends.
Yeah. So the principle of brothers is due to the fact that the koyach of the father is in the brother. This is what's called oyer. You cannot deny the brother's relationship to you because he is your father's son.
Okay. That I got.
Yeah. Okay. So if so far we had challenges, now we have, and we have to really carefully understand what the Rebbe is saying. We started it. He says that Lifnei HaTzimtzum is a different story. Over there, you have Bli Gvul being misyashiv and contained fully. Fully means full regalia, full revelation, full cognizance within the Oisis Hashem. According to what we finished explaining, this is not a possibility. Bli Gvul cannot be captured and represented through a Gvul. Tzvi, can you see if we can hear the 10th? For Hashem, we have 9. Okay. Hine. However, we have to. You know what the word hine means? Maybe you know the best way to translate the word hine in English.
Behold.
Behold. What does word behold mean? What is the implication? Look at it. Behold, open your eyes and behold what you see. I can't explain it to you. But you can behold it. And if you keep your eyes open and let your eyes show you what they see, you will see it. And if you are going to begin doubting your own eyes, then you're not going to behold it. Because the Eibishter in his kindness has given us eyes, physical eyes and intellectual eyes. It is through these eyes that we have our first inkling of the godly truth. These are the eyes. These eyes bring us the godly truth, and then we absorb it in our other koiches, like from Chochmah into Bina, and Bina into Das, and no other koiches. And this is why all our activities are full of life. Why? Because they have this spark of Chochmah in them. Like we said many times, an odd thing. The Egyptians have subdued Eden and worked them beforech in a spiritually devastating spirit-breaking manner. And how did they break their spirit? They caused them to work without any accomplishment, any production. Dig the ditch and fill it up. What did they even care if the Egyptians benefit from my work? I hate them with a passion anyway. There is a sense of reality in the world, and therefore, because my presence in the world is first and foremost identified and recognized in Chochmah. And Chochmah, what is Chochmah? Chochmah is the truth, the godly truth. And therefore, I have the relationship in whatever I do. There has to be some kind of a truth to it. Some kind of reality to it. And if you break that reality away from me, it's torture. Like a human being becoming a machine, not a human being. This Chochmah is called Re'iyah. And this is why Chassidus very often, before starting, says, Hine. I'm going to show it to you. As much as I'll explain to you, but if you don't open your eyes and allow your eyes to observe what they observe and accept what they observe, there's no point of me explaining it to you. You're not responsible for this one?
I don't know.
Somehow.
Okay. So the Rebbe starts over and says, Hine. I'm just going to say a few words, and then we'll go down there. Hine.
From what line?
And the second line. Towards the middle. Lifnei ha-tzimtzum, before the tzimtzum, laharei leihoya inyan ha-metzius. Behold, there was not the whole inyan, the whole principle of metzius, klal uklal. Klal uklal means not at all. The whole inyan, the whole phenomenon of metzius didn't exist with the tzimtzum, and therefore they'll find what the therefore is the following classes. First we have to understand what the metzius is. All right.
At least have a human opinion here.
The principle of
That's what you
does exist.
what, Boris?
Number 10.